going to be using the head pins, 1-inch head pins with beads on, and coiling them to put on for the clusters, and then we'll see how that works. To coil the head pins, I'm going to be using round nose pliers, and then I will be using flat nose and also some flush cutters. The wire that I'm using is this one, which is extra strength. I was going to use a 0.012, but I decided this one would be a lot stronger. It's a 7-strand stainless steel beading wire, which is strong. So I think I've decided on the white and the clear, and these ones. These are actually a 5mm. These are 6mm, and these are actually a 5mm because I measured them. So these ones will be going on the neckline, you know, the part that goes up to the neck, and these are going to be the cluster parts. I think, one second, I think, oh, these ones might be a little bright, but then the sea bead is quite white, so we'll see what happens. I've got to coil the, put the beads onto the head pins and coil them, which I'll show you how I do in a minute. It's actually quite difficult on camera. So let's do a frosted one this time, making sure again that it doesn't go through. And then reposition. So do like a hook. And then there, just a very basic coil that you can just literally put onto the wire. And then we'll do this one again, making sure, and then reposition, coil, just keep turning the round nose. This is how I do it anyway, and it's worked so far, so no problems. And then your coil. So I will go away, I will do a pile of each of those 3 colours, which are those ones, and then I'll be back. After a little while of seeing which works, I've added some clusters. So I've added 4 of the frosted, 4 of the white. I wasn't going to add the white, but I think too much frosted and clear, it needed to be broken up a little bit. So then the little 5mm, and then the frosted, and then I put 1 white on the end just to finish that off, and then I'll be carrying on with the single strands either side. I'm going to put the beads on the other end, so my plaster's actually falling off. Had a bit of a occupational hazard with a pair of pliers. So that's those ones. Find that a little bit more so you can see. And then the white, 1, 2, 3. I don't want to do too much cluster because I don't want it being, you know, too over. You know, I want this to be the focal part of the necklace rather than the clusters. This is why I'm using whites and clears, and the colour is along the bottom. But if I do any more of these, if it works, I will be doing this part maybe a little bit smaller, because threading this wire through, it kept poking out here, here, here. So it took me about 20 minutes to put the wire through. So maybe if that part was a bit smaller, a bit shorter, then it might be a bit easier. Otherwise it's time consuming, but the longer I think it actually looks quite nice. So I don't know whether, yeah, put that on the end. So that's that one. I think that's all of them on there. So that's the cluster part like that. So I think that works quite well. As I said, this is trial and error necklace. This is completely, because I messed up on this, I thought, right, I'm going to see if I can turn it into a necklace. And I think it's working so far. With the actual necklace part, the top part, I'm going to see if I can add the same colour seed beads, which I don't have a lot of. When I said I ran out before, I've literally got about 30 or something beads left, which isn't a lot. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add, I think, the frosted, these ones. Let's see if I can get some more. So if I add those and excuse me, and then the white, I think maybe these ones as well for the main part, which I'll have to take off the string that they're on, and then all these beads I'll push into the corner because I don't need those now, and then find bags for them in a minute when I've finished, because otherwise they just get in the way. There's some more white ones, just to take those out. I actually found a couple that would chip, badly chipped, so it's a bit smaller, that one. I've taken those out because I don't want those on the necklace. So those ones, I mean, I'm not really worried if they're slightly smaller, but if they're too small, I will take them out because they're not going to match the other ones. So let me take this off the string. These ones are a little bit bigger. I think these are a 5 and these are, well, they're supposed to be a 6mm, but I think they're 6 by 5. I don't think they're that round. They're not rounded off. So maybe they're a 6 by 5. So yeah, if we take a few of those off, and then we can start doing the actual necklace part. What I was thinking was, because I don't have many seed beads to match this, I was thinking, because I've already put a white on each end, I'm going to put a seed bead on, and then maybe a smaller one, maybe a bigger one, smaller one, bigger one. You know what, we'll probably run out of seed beads of this one as well. Nightmare. Right. So it's just literally like that, because I want the focal bit to be on the bottom and not on the actual necklace bit. But as long as there's some sort of nice pattern going on, that'd be quite nice. So I'm going to add a white one now. We should have enough of those. Remember, quite a lot of your length is already on the bottom, so you probably won't need much of that one. So it's this one. I might put you on a time lapse actually, because it might take a while to do so. showing you how it's done. As I said, this is just literally something I had in my mind and I thought I'd try it, and I think it's working okay. I'm just going to finish off as one more set of beads, and then I'll see the length, see what the length is. It's good because on my bead mat I actually have a ruler, so I can measure. I can actually measure my beads, or the length of my necklace I should say. So we are at 15 inches, so I think I might do one more round because I don't want it being too short. I think it's, I'll put it around my own neck, I can see. Yeah, I think we'll do one more set each side, and then it will be even, and then we can put the clasp on. What do we end with? The white one. So one, we do it this way, and then we know where we are. See that one, and then I'll probably drop them all. So I think what we do is finish this off, and then see, that's that one. Oh no, it's the bigger clear ones. So it's that one. And then what I'm going to do as well, I think, is put 2 crimps either side to keep it, you know, a bit more secure. Because it has got a bit of weight to it, which I didn't realise would be. What I normally do as well is I normally, let's find a smaller one. When I crimp, I normally put a couple of smaller beads at the top, so I'll probably add the 5mm beads at the top. I think that's okay now. You see the clusters, just even if they're pushed down a little bit more, and I think that's quite nice. Definitely different. So once I crimp, I'm just worried about this bit here. It's not sitting right, but I think it's when it moves about and it's on, when the necklace is more sort of like that rather than like that, I think it might sit better. So I think that is enough on there now. I think that's fine. I'm quite pleased with that actually. And I think the beads actually go quite well with the beaded part at the bottom. So now I'm going to crimp one side, put all my beads away, and then I'll come back and crimp the other side. So with this end, I'm going to do this side first. I'm going to put on a seed bead, 2 of the 5mm. Keep dropping them. The light's going a little bit, so I can't really see properly. So there we go. So that's on like so, and then I'm going to be putting on 2 crimp beads, which are very, very tiny. And then with my new closed jump rings, which is what I normally use for crimping, put that on the end like so, and then put the end, bend it over the jump ring, back through the crimp beads, and then push the crimp beads up, and then with your flat nose literally just squeeze, and I normally make sure as well that the wire is like this, it's not crossed over, so that will be a lot better. So maybe give that another little squeeze to make sure it's in place. They're not going to move. So that's me. That's my crimp there. Sorry, 2 crimps. Then what I do then is I make sure these 2 beads I put on and put the wire through both of them like so, and then I know roughly then how much to cut off, which is about 1 inch. So I will do that now. Oh, I could actually do it with the beads on, couldn't I? Let's do that. So put that back on. As long as you don't cut the wire that's holding all your beads. There we go. So make sure that's all okay. Put them back on. And then what I do then is I literally just get the other end and let them all drop down to the end like so. And then what I'm going to do with that one is I'm going to add on another jump ring, which is this one, which is an open jump ring, and then add the clasp. I may have to add one of these ones both ends because this jump ring is actually thinner than this one. If I add this one, the clasp that I have won't, this will be too thick to go through, or to, you know, to go on. So I'm gonna have to put the 8mm jump ring on each end and then add the clasp. So I'll come back and do the other end, and then I'll add the clasp on. Okay, so what I've done is I've added the both ends and crimped. I'll show you actually. So I've done one there. I've left a little bit of extra room for the jump ring to move about a little bit, and also I've left a tiny bit of slack on because I noticed that when I pulled the other end to you know, pull it through, I noticed this was kind of sort of twisting a little bit, so I've left a little bit of slack on there, not too much, just enough so it looks better. But obviously on the neck it's going to sit sort of more like that, I'd imagine. So I think that's okay. So what I'll do now is I'll, on one end I'll add the clasp. Find my, so I just use these just to open the jump ring, and this one to put that on, and then the clasp. And it doesn't matter which side you put the clasp on because it's the pattern on the necklace is exactly the same either side. So make sure that none of that is sticking up and it's smooth. And we will get another jump ring. Everything is done. The camera is literally with where I'm on the table. The camera is literally here, and I'm literally hugging the tripod, which can be quite annoying because you can't actually see properly what you're doing, because you have to do kind of a close-up of what you're making, and it can be a little bit difficult sometimes. So you have to bear with me with, sometimes it doesn't work properly. So that is that. So I put on the 2 crimps because there's a little bit of weight, and I put on a closed jump ring, an open jump ring, a clasp, and then this side I put on the 2 crimps, a closed jump ring, an open jump ring, just so you can, that would probably add a little bit of length to it as well with all that findings on there. So that's the necklace actually done. I don't know whether I can, a little bit, there we go. I think that's actually worked quite well. with a cluster. This side, obviously, this side works better, but this side is not so thing because of, you know, I messed up on the end. But yeah, I think it's worked out quite nice actually. Quite pleased with it. And obviously with the detail on the bottom, and then added, the reason I added this colour was because I didn't want the, you know, the focal point is the bottom of the necklace, and I didn't want too much colour here, and I think that actually works quite nicely. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, and like and subscribe, that would be wonderful, and I'll see you soon. Bye.